Welcome back to HPL. We're at the PvP Live Studios here in Frisco, Texas. I'm joined by Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora, and I am the Tanner Grace. We just had an amazing match here, our second match tonight. Caldy just getting by Muzzy in a 5-game set.
Yeah, a full 5 games, and it was very close at every single step of the way. Muzzy, got a little bit unlucky with his Tinker Sharp Sword Oil, but it was a play that he had to make a very big swing turn. Had to make some trades that maybe he didn't want to necessarily make, and couldn't find the card draw at the end to get what he needed to finish that match, but it was very close. And Caldy, doing a lot of self-reflection in that match, talking about how he made some mistakes in there that he shouldn't have made, is what he said. I always love to see people taking responsibilities for their decisions and looking for ways to improve their game. That's how you become a winning player.
Yeah, I loved seeing a few things from Muzzy in there. I know it was a little hard on him. I didn't want to be too harsh on him in that match. I just wanted to see him maybe refine strategies within a class, but I liked the decks that he brought and the deck choices that he made, and I thought he played pretty well overall. And as you said, he got a little unlucky here in Game 5 and didn't get the win, but you're starting to see strides forward. I didn't think there was any step back in that matchup from him, and I expect to see some more wins out of him in the future.
Yeah, so we're going to roll into our second match here in a moment, but we're going to talk a little bit more about how this second match is going to be set up. We take a look at the standings to see where both of these guys sat after this game, and Muzzy, he's got to start turning this around at a 2-5 now, over a third of the way through the season. Yeah,
he's at 2-5 here. Maybe back to the drawing board a little bit. Talk to his teammates, talk to his manager. Apparently, he's really hands-on with these guys going forward. Love seeing that from a team. You got a couple of guys going forward, but in our third match coming up, we have Zalae versus Greensheep here. It's going to be a continuation of the match they started yesterday. Greensheep really needs this win here, but he's down 2-0 already here in this match. Zalae only needs 1 game win here. Greensheep got to do a reverse sweep again.
Yeah, a little bit of some server issues yesterday. Players were unable to connect to their accounts during the middle of the match, so that was postponed until tonight, which we're kind of going to be talking about here. Again, Zalae, we're going to be talking a little bit about how his aggressive strategy has been working for him so far.
Yeah, and his aggressive strategy has been great against what Greensheep has been doing. The kind of decks that he plays match up really well against the over-the-top aggressive players like Greensheep has been. Greensheep's mana utilization in this tournament, in HPL, has been off the charts. He's been one of the highest ones, but it doesn't matter when your opponents are keeping up with you in those first couple turns. Since he's been so aggressive, he's been filling out the curves of 1, 2, 3, and 4 very well. But what Zalae's been doing with Grim Patron Warrior and Handlock and stuff like that, he's been keeping up very well with them early in the game.
Yeah, Greensheep actually also been queuing up something like Grim Patron Warrior to really try to get things done. And as you said, he was feeling under the weather yesterday, so getting this a little bit of this
nice
postponed,
reprieve,
a little bit of a blessing for him in this match. But it looks like we're going to be heading into game number 3 right now, because again, Zalae up 2-0 in this match. This was a postponed one that we're continuing here tonight.
Yeah, Greensheep was very under the weather last night. It was very late for him. I think he said that he even had school as well, so the whole weight of the world was on him yesterday. And he looks like he still might be a little under the weather here, but probably feeling at least a little better than yesterday. He couldn't feel much worse.
Yeah, you can kind of see it in his face, too. He's just still not feeling very well. What a tough match to be heading into. And
what a tough kid.
Yeah, just nothing going to phase him. And Zalae, he's coming out swinging it for this one, wants to get it over with early. Web spinner, very indicative of a mid-range strategy, so we're going to see how this works out against him. And Greensheep, bringing Warlock here. We'll get a glimpse of his hand as quickly as we can as soon as his client gets fixed. But Zalae starting out very early. Number 1 on Web spinner. Number 2 is going to be Knife Juggler.
Yeah, love the start here from Zalae. Oh, and it looks like one of the mid-range demon-centric decks possibly from Greensheep here.
Yeah, a much heavier hand as well. He actually has no action on turn 2, despite having the coin in this situation. So this is a big opening for Zalae to really start to get some stuff done here. Second Knife Juggler being added to the hand, and Greensheep still no action on turn 2, picks up a Dr. Boom and an Imp Gang Boss. He would have loved to have that in the opposite order.
Yeah, he definitely would love to have that in the opposite order. This Imp Gang Boss would have been great here on this turn, really checking what Zalae has got going in this. But you know what? Now Zalae gets a big advantage here. He's got a couple options here. He can just run his Knife Juggler in here and play another one and start to really develop his board, or he can Eagle Horn Bow, get through, and then get in some damage and really start pushing for damage.
This is a really interesting turn here for Zalae, because the Eagle Horn Bow will kind of fortify his board position moving forward in terms of responding to what Greensheep is going to be doing. But a second Knife Juggler adds a lot of pressure behind this. He has the piloted Shredder. A couple of things that he's thinking about right now. I think the major one is how Implosion affects this kind of board state. And if he sees an Implosion for something like 4, his board's going to become very much checked in the coming stages. Actually going to keep onto an Eagle Horn Bow check too. Really like this from him. The Knife Juggler is going to be checked by Implosion either way that you roll through this, but this way he gets an extra charge on an Eagle Horn Bow. I actually kind of really like this.
Yeah, great play from him here. Now Imp Gang Boss is going to kind of gum up the works here, but ooh, that was a decent draw here.
Yeah, I mean, this could potentially result in a very favorable situation from him, but we're going to see how he chooses to respond to this. You know, doesn't necessarily want to Hunter's Mark on this turn, but this will chew through some of this health and help him get his board position in check. You know, if he Hunter's Marks here, uses the Eagle Horn Bow, and then he has a chance to land that 50-50 on that last minion, he can find himself in a very favorable position.
Yeah, you're going to see him play the Pilot Shredder here, get the 50-50, because he takes one less damage this way if he hits here and has to chew through the Imp. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to miss, so he's facing down a 2-1, but the 2-1 kind of doing the exact same thing that a 1-1 would do in this spot. Checks the Knife Juggler, so this also is great sequencing from him because this will also squeeze in more damage in the times he gets lucky.
Yeah, and you know what, I would like to see, you may see him trade here, I was about to say, but there's no way you take away this 3 damage here. I think he's trying to think of if he wants to attack with his bow here and then where he wants it to go, but you know, he doesn't want to do that. He's just going to go ahead and pass the turn over to Greensheep. Greensheep, his hand's finally unlocked here. He's got a ton of 4-drops.
Yeah, it looks like Void Collar is going to be the play. Not under a ton of pressure, so free to play a little bit more towards the development side of things. And the Imp Gang boss, I think he's still pretty happy with the trade overall, but Zalae, what a draw from him. Freezing Trap, so good on this board position. Going to keep that Void Collar in check for this turn.
Yeah, I mean, some crazy things can happen to Void Collar, especially when you see them not do anything for the first couple of turns. Their hand has to be heavy, and you got to be worried about what it is that's hiding behind this Void Collar.
You know, he could also just play Sludge Belcher here too, though. You know, doesn't have to be really impatient with the way that he's played this, and you've already seen that he's kind of strapping in for a longer game here, looking to get big board development and then push for that advantage later on. And, you know, always very diligent and very calculated in his plays is Zalae.
Yeah, you always see Zalae take some very interesting play lines, but they generally end up being very, very good as well. You see him take some strange play lines, sometimes not use all of his mana, but it's actually winning play lines a lot. And I love watching him play. He's so methodical, so calculated. His plays are so well thought out.
I am a little bit surprised he chose to use the Eagle Horn Bow here with the Pilot Shredder, given the way he had played earlier, but because he anticipates it getting a second charge, that's really where that play is coming into effect. So Greensheep going to start playing a little bit more defensively here and make sure he can get his board position fortified before he has to take any action.
Yeah, there's a good chance you're going to see Greensheep not attack here, and yeah, he's not going to attack here. Not falling for this this Freezing Trap kind of play from Zalae here.
Yep, so then once again, Zalae has to make some sorts of decisions here.
Yeah, this is a great spot for Greensheep, actually, like completely turning this game around. His hand looked great going forward as well as Zalae. You know, he can develop a Sludge Belcher this turn, he maybe get some attacks in, but this doesn't look amazing.
I mean, this is kind of the position you'll often get into as well when players have to, you know, they're both playing sort of aggressive strategies, is it turns into like a mini control game where players are constantly trying to fight for a very favorable board position that they can take advantage of. You know, not necessarily just pushing damage and then hoping their opponent has to trade into them, because when your opponent has very favorable trades, that's not the position you want to be in as the aggressive player. So both of these guys fighting very hard for what's going on. I mean, there's a possibility for no attacks this turn from Zalae as well.
Yeah, so we might see the no attack turns 2 in a row. Something very odd you see through these, like both, you know, I mean, both of these decks are pretty aggressive. They're like mid-range variants of their class, but they're still very aggressive. They're still trying to attack.
Yeah, so no attack from both players back-to-back turns. Very rare that you see that kind of situation come up. And a lot of board tension is building now. And how is Greensheep wanting to handle this? You know, does he think this is Snake Trap maybe? Is that a possibility? Can he even play around Snake Trap right now?
Yeah, you can't really play around Snake Trap. You can play around Freezing Trap, which, you know, getting to pick up this Defender of Argus, not the worst thing in the world. It's going to cost 6 mana from here, but that's going to be a big effect later in this game.
Plenty of opportunities.
He's going to go ahead and just use it now.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't he? This is a beautiful turn to use. It gets a lot of damage out of this Void Color. It's going to even get more value out of the Ruby and Egg in this spot. And the Freezing Trap has been checked to this point, so Zalae's running out of cards.
Yeah, you get an extra charge on his Eagle Horn Bow, and he has 29 life, so he has some life points to leverage with. But if you look at Greensheep hand, he has a ton of ways to finish this game off very, very well going forward. Core Hound, not integral to Zalae's plan here. I mean, it is a 9/5. That is gigantic, but
I don't think he necessarily anticipated using Core Hound as a central part of his strategy. So we'll see how he moves forward.
I wouldn't be surprised if Zalae actually was prepared for that outcome, since he's just so prepared for everything in every situation and so calculated. He's like, what happens if I get a Core Hound?
Went through every single different beast.
Off this web spinner. He just has a list next to him.
That's why he's been playing the slow game here. He needs to get this Core Hound on board as his major threat.
Yeah.
No, that's a joke. He actually, you know, Core Hound, not the minion he wants to see right now. He may actually play it this turn, though, just to try to catch Greensheep in a position. Maybe Greensheep's hand is just very heavy, and he doesn't have ways to adequately check a big minion like this. So Zalae, once again, going to take his time and think through his options properly. I love that he's leveraging his life total here instead of trading in his minion. I think it's exactly something he needed to do in this. And even the Pilot Shredder, trying to get every single point of value that he possibly can. And look at this. I think he's going to try to trade off on this Nerubian right there. And Knife Juggler going to go to the dome too. This is actually looking like a pretty fantastic setup from him, but Greensheep has some ways to start turning this around.
Yeah, he's got Dr. Boom if he wants this turn. He has another Defender of Argus. It would be his third played Defender of Argus this game. He has a power overwhelm if he needs to chew through this the Sludge Belcher with his other Defender of Argus if he wants to start doing that. He could even draw some extra cards to see if he gets a bigger and better demon than this Voidwalker in his hand. You know, he's got a lot of options. Implosion. I mean, he's got just a ton of things for him. When the game gets this way, when there's 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 minions on the board, this is where the real pros get their money, because navigating these complicated board states and finding ways through here to get through enough pressure and enough damage and not yourself die, this is where you really earn your stripes as a professional. These games are very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, so many different options to attack here, so many different lines of play, and with this many cards in his hand, not always going to be able to make the right ones. I actually kind of like this implosion turn from him too, and kind of move forward from here. It looks like power overwhelming on this Defender of Argus to get the most out of that power overwhelming. He's not looking to push for damage right now. He's looking to get such a fortified board position that there's nothing Zalae can do to actually recover from this board state.
Yeah, he's looking for board control here while still pushing in some damage. And so, like, as you see, he's got a great board state now.
Yeah, but a couple ways that Zalae can start to handle this. I mean, I'd be fast to say that his last hurrah is probably going to be pushing for damage. He doesn't know that Greensheep has his second Defender of Argus, and when he commits to that aggression at this point, you're going to see Greensheep punish him for that one, I think.
Yeah, you're going to see him use his Eaglehorn Bow to push through here and then get some real damage in on Greensheep here. He can play a Pilot Shredder. Oh,
he's going to go with defensive play instead. He feels like he can still get this one done. King of Beasts actually it's a little bit interesting in this spot. A worse Fen Creeper right now, unless he got a beast off of this Piloted Shredder, but he's running very low on his ability to reach Greensheep's life total when he keeps making these trades.
Yeah, the thing is like, this is a weird spot for him. If he trades here, he does get a minion left behind and gets a minion off of Greensheep's side of the board, but he's at 19, Greensheep's at 17. He doesn't have a lot of reach left in his deck, or in his hand, left to actually push forward from here, because he can really only play one card out of his hand from here, and he's just kind of falling behind here.
Yeah, I actually like the Piloted Shredder here a little bit more. He's going to
push for damage,
the board at this point, and actually he's going to go to the dome at this point.
Yeah, I like this. Give yourself outs.
Yep, I like this as well too. Trading in the web spinner here, I think totally reasonable. Try to get the most information you can, but Greensheep has got all the answers in the world.
Yeah, this Defender of Argus is going to seal this game for him right here going forward.
Patient Assassin,
that's a good one, yeah.
That might change a few things now. I mean, that's a minion that you often don't prepare for in this kind of spot. He does have a Defender of Argus once again to kind of keep his board position in check, but he also rolls 2.
That's fine. He has an imp left over to kind of pick the thing
Shielded
off. Oh, wow.
Minibot
Shielded
comes
Minibot.
down.
Great minions for Zalae here off of his Piloted Shredders.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is still going to be more than enough, though. This looks like the push for damage to me. That's 9 to the dome that Greensheep's
putting Zalae to
right
10
now.
here.
He needs something to get back in this game right now. And Savannah Highman, his hand is too heavy. He cannot play 2 cards a turn, and that's something he's desperately needed for multiple turns.
How often do you see a Hunter player with 9 mana, 3 cards in their hand, and they can only play 1?
It's very, very rare to see that kind of position. He actually doesn't have a way to kill 2 minions this turn either. So this is looking dire straits for Zalae right now.
Yeah, even if he takes care of this Nerubian, Greensheep will be left with 8 power left on the board. So he has to play this King of Beasts. Otherwise, there's too many top decks for Greensheep to actually get him out of this game going forward.
Yeah, and now the question is, do you kill the Void Caller or do you kill the Nerubian? In this spot, there's not too terribly much of a difference because your opponent's going to be able to chew through your King of Beasts anyway. But if your opponent doesn't have a demon in their hand right now, this is one of the spots where maybe you can punish them for that, because Greensheep has the liberty to draw some more cards.
Yeah, you could definitely get him. I think I might actually go after the Void Caller here and just hope there's no demon here. That seems like one of the ways you actually win from this spot is getting very lucky here.
Yeah, he thinks every point of damage is going to matter a little bit more, though. So going to use that Shielded Minibot, ping for 2 once again, and Greensheep has some outs in his deck. I think that might be able to end this game. 4-5. He's got 8 points of damage, it looks like, right now. But he has to start being a little... Actually, wait a minute. So if he uses the Void Caller to help push through this King of Beasts, he's going to have 7 damage left over, so a little bit short, but he can clean up this board position and play a Dr. Boom behind this. But is he worried about Unleash the Hounds at all?
Yeah, I think you're going to see him start to trade in some of his minions to play around something like Unleash the Hounds, or he can leave this Void Caller on board as a taunter, just as a couple extra, like as a buffer for his life total, just a little bit. But if he does that, then he has to play the Doom Guard, which I think he's actually going to do now that he's playing Nerubian Egg.
We're going to find out here. Just a second. He actually is going to play Doom Guard. Wants the Void Caller to help
This is
protect
just a
his life
safer
total.
play for Greensheep.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's looking for, is protecting his life total at all costs.
He
This is
still
also
gets-
leaving with 10 points of damage on, or sorry, more than enough damage on board to finish this game. So Zalae needs some big draws right now if he's going to end it. And Lothrop's
that's
not
not
going to
gonna
be
do it.
enough. His hand has been too heavy for too long, and with no utility, the fact that Zalae stayed in this game this long is actually a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, just get this Core Hound into play. Show him what's up.
2 more points of damage coming in, and Zalae, it's going to be no help to him, though. Greensheep has more than enough damage to end this game.
Yeah, he just took his first step on his second reverse sweep here in HPL, getting on the board. He's now, he's on this board now. Zalae was up 2-0 coming in this game yet again, guys. This is a continuation match from yesterday. There was a server problem with Hearthstone. They had to take it down, and we couldn't finish the match in time. So Zalae came in 2 up in this match, so it's now 2-1.
Yeah, Greensheep, I mean, what a grueling battle for the board that was, too. And I think really the big difference there is that Zalae's hand was just too heavy in the end, wasn't able to use enough mana to get multiple threats out. And just like you said, how often do you see a hunter with 3 cards in their hand on turn 9 and they're only able to play one of them? That was one of the back-breaking moments for Zalae in that game, was not having access to the right tools.
Yeah, not being able to play multiple cards in one turn in that match cost him that match. Had he been able to do a couple things extra, maybe play, 2 minions there, a beast into King of Beasts so it has 3 power, he could have maybe turned that game around. He might have had a chance, but the hand was just too heavy, and Greensheep got the win in the end.
Yeah, Greensheep also had kind of a heavy hand himself, though. No play on turn 2 with a deck that has a lot of 1, 2, and 3 drops in it. If you guys want to see how this game panned out and recap it, you can head over to pvplive.net and see for yourself. All the stats breakdowns that have happened in this match, the first 2 games, if you want to check those out, you're free to do so over there as well. These guys are making changes to their decks, but when we come back, game number 4 is going to be getting underway. Can Greensheep turn this back around from that 0-2 start that he had, or is Zalae going to be able to close it out in one of the next 2 games? Don't go anywhere, guys. When we come back, we're going to be getting to game number 4. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.